Hey everyone, Delphi Group here with our weekly Tuesday market report that we put out every Tuesday. So again, thanks for being here and your support. Let's look at the indexes real quick. I am looking at the SPY daily. We have about 3 minutes left to the close. So what we're seeing here, and we're going to get to the Qs and IWM, but we are starting to head lower, okay? And is this a bearish engulfing candle here? If we look at the close 643.30, open, no, barely missing a bearish engulfing candle, but we are right on the 20-day moving average, okay? The Qs has already lost the 20-day moving average, okay? So tech is moving lower, and what we're going to show you why we're really paying attention to what's going on this week in the indexes in a bit. But all I'm going to do, if you remember last week, I said I'm going to keep my forecast contingent on a close below the 20-day moving average. So I am just going to stick to that. I am going to just move this up. And if and when the SPY breaks and closes below the 20-day moving average, I think it will go towards the 50-day, which is this red line here. And that will need to hold, because if it doesn't, then we could be coming much lower, okay? So remember that September is historically not a good month in the markets. I know we have about 2 weeks or a week and a half left for that, but just to keep that in mind, and that goes for crypto as well. And I'll look at Bitcoin at the end. So for the SPY, again, contingent on a close below the 20-day moving average to move towards the 50. Okay, Qs has already taken place. Here we can see clearly, I mean, we have another minute, so we are going to close under the 20-day moving average. So what I'm going to do is my forecast now is to head toward the 50-day moving average, which is right now about 563, 564 on the Qs. Look at the volume. Remember, volume going up on the way down is bearish, and our indicators are going lower. So that is what I am forecasting for next week. And watch the 50-day, because if that goes, we could be heading lower as well. So just watch the 50-day moving average. Okay, on to the IWM. Last but not least, if you guys remember what we did last week, and there's the closing bell, we made a 4-part forecast. And again, nobody is doing this anywhere, social media or anywhere. I beg you to bring them to me who is doing this. So again, we put out a 4-part forecast. We said we would go up. That target has hit. We went out. Here is where we made the forecast. We went out 3 days and predicted the volume drop almost perfectly. Look at that. Nobody's doing that anywhere, going out in time, predicting a volume drop. So we said when we get the volume drop, which it did right there, so that forecast has hit. We then said the CCI, our favorite indicator, would pivot. That has hit. And now the only thing left is hitting our target here, which we think the IWM will do down to the 20-day moving average. We have a bearish engulfing candle under this resistance level, which you can see why it's being resistance. It's struggling there on higher volume. So we do think the 4th part of our forecast, which is more than halfway there already, will hit. Okay, nobody's doing this anywhere in the world that we're doing here at Delphi. And we do have a bonus. We haven't put out a bonus play recently. So let's look at ABBV. Okay, looking at ABBV here, we have a pivot, meaning we have a lower high and a lower low following a shooting star. Okay, that's a bearish candle. This is actually a bearish hammer at resistance. Volume is dropping. Okay, volume dropping on the way up is bearish. CCI sell signal, it overbought. stochastic way overbought and crossing, okay, and far from the moving averages. So we're going to put a forecast here for ABBV for the next week or two. We do think we're going to go lower toward the 20-day moving average and the support. Okay, that could be a good size drop for you swing traders out there. So that's our bonus play on ABBV. All right, so going to why we are looking very closely now to what is going on in the indexes. I have the SPY up here. The next couple of days are going to be very important, okay? This, again, is our cycle line hitting on Thursday. So we have 2 days left. And again, as a reminder, this cycle line, what this is a reversal cycle line. We have traded this for over 2 years, and it has only been wrong once. So even if we go back here to the beginning of the year, you can see what happened here. We came up to the cycle line and we crashed. Here we came up to the cycle line. We had our best trading window in a very long time here. We went heavily short the indexes here and cashed out several times playing this cycle down to here, which we closed all our puts here. Okay, why did we close our puts here? Because of the cycle line. You can see what has happened since that. Okay, and then the last cycle we came up, we came down to the cycle line, and wouldn't you know it, we bounced again. So now what are we seeing here? Well, until today really, this cycle was really mirroring back here. So if we look back here, what happened? We went up, we came down, we went up sideways and then dumped. So very similar here. We go up, we go down, we go up. We were going sideways until today. So we were looking for a reversal down. We were actually scaling in puts the last couple days up here, and even though we got the drop, so we closed a lot of put positions that we had in our trading log. So we did really well, especially on MicroStrategy. We'll get to all those at the end of the week when we do our trading recap and core weave. But even we have SPY puts that we've already taken profits on, IWM puts we already have profits on. So what does that mean? What are we seeing now? Well, this might be a good thing for the bulls or not, because this is going to be a very difficult to figure out what's going to happen here. Because you can see here we came up and we were looking to short heavily here. And what happened? The SPY decided to go down and then use the cycle line to reverse up. So is that happening now? We are heading lower. If we go down again tomorrow and into Thursday, then we might be seeing something similar here. So we're going to have to be very on guard with the rest of our puts that we have in our put positions. But if we do come down and we take out the 20-day, let's say tomorrow, okay, we could get a very quick drop towards that 50-day, okay? And if that happens, then this may offer support at the cycle line, so we may start to pivot higher. If we get a move down to the 50-day by Thursday, we're probably taking off a lot of our puts and then see what happens. Okay, so that's why we're saying we have to really watch what's happening here, because if we go up the next 2 days, then we would say we could be going lower at the cycle line. So the next couple days here on the SPY could be very telling on what is going on. And one other thing that we want to mention since we're here, before we look at crypto, we put out an alert on our X page. If you guys want to follow us on X, please do. We put a lot of our content there. We will post our X page address in the description box here on YouTube. But again, this is not good on Microsoft, okay? Microsoft has closed under the 50-day moving average. It also moved under the 20-day a couple days ago. But this is a very, very bearish setup on Microsoft if it doesn't come to make a rally here. Because we do not see much support until about 470, Okay, that's about a $40 drop if things start to get ugly, especially with the indexes. And remember, September is historically a bad month. So this is something to watch and keep an eye on Microsoft, because if this move happens, it will not be good for tech, the Qs, and the overall market. Okay, so just keep an eye on this on Microsoft. You can see here, if we go back, I mean, this is the first time it has closed under the 50-day moving average since April. Okay, it hasn't even been close. So Microsoft looks like it could be breaking down here. So just be mindful of this if you're long it or for the overall markets. All right, so just wanted to throw that in there for you guys. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick, because Bitcoin's been all over the place. We've been short some MicroStrategy products that we closed today down here. We did not like this reversal, making a new all-time high that kind of broke what it has done in the past. Normally when Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, it will pump for about 10 or 15,000 more dollars, and it did not do that. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing that 112 could be support, which it has to hold. Okay, we see resistance here, broken, becomes support. Okay, so we'll need to see if it's support again. We have we talk about roll resistance, support, and resistance in our educational channels, in our videos, in our Discord channel. Okay, so we'll need to watch Bitcoin here if it's going to bounce and maybe be range bound. Okay, we have this golden line which I had out of the SPY 2. This golden line is the Fed meeting. Okay, so if the markets do come down into the Fed meeting and the Fed cuts, that may mark the bottom of any index drop. Okay, but first things first, we're at Bitcoin, so we'll have to watch 112. You know, do we become range bound until then? But yeah, if I go back to SPY, because I failed to mention this real quick, there is the Fed meeting line here. So originally we were looking for the indexes to either go sideways or up and then drop, possibly to this support where the Fed meeting will be. So if this does play out, you know, if the spike goes sideways now and then picks up more momentum to the downside, we would watch the Fed meeting for support bounce, maybe even into the end of the year, if they cut rates. Okay, but be careful, and we'll talk about this later down the road. When the Fed pivots and cuts rates, that a little time after that, usually bear markets start. So just be mindful of that. All right, so that's it from us here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, please like, subscribe, tell people that we're here. And again, we will put our X account address in the description box. If you guys want to follow us on X, please do. We do put out a lot of content during the week there. That's very helpful. All right, so thanks. And again, we will hope to see you next week on Tuesday's call. Have a great week. Good luck trading, and take care.